Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. I think is episode number 12 already. And again, today with my good friend Alexander Bergmann. Last week we talked about, I already forgot what we talked about. What was last week?
Motivation.
Motivation. So I am a motivated guy, but I have a lack of memory. So yeah, but last week we talked about how to get motivated on a skateboard, and today we have a different topic. It is also skateboard related since Alex is a great skateboarder. We thought about talking a little bit about double flips and what double flips do with your skating in general, because maybe some of you guys who are like practicing double flips or just like about to get them pretty good, safe. They most of you, well, I had this and Alex as well. We noticed that with practicing double flips, it kind of ruins your consistency with normal kick flips. What is your input on that, Alex?
Yes, in my opinion, it takes a lot of time and work to really separate them in your mind, in your brain. The single kick flip and the double flip. For me, it really helped to listen to the trick tip of Donovan Strain, the guy from the Barracks, who did the Battery Ass Mondays series. And and he showed on the deck that you need for a double flip you need to just flip outside, like really 90-degree to the skateboard direction.
Mm-hmm.
And with the single flip, of course, you do it over the pocket here. But
Yeah.
with a double flip, maybe your foot is like this, but you should only flick it out. Not really even flick, maybe just
Mm-hmm.
pulling the foot towards you 90-degree angle to the long axis of the board.
Okay. Okay. So that is a great thing that you just show a skateboard and talk about foot precision and about guys giving trick tips about that trick, because I just recently discovered a guy on YouTube who is amazing. He has a YouTube channel called Skate Hacks, and he gives
Hmm.
in-depth or tutorials or tips about tricks in general. And if you're like not a beginner and a little bit more experienced, that guy, this YouTube channel is so much value because the way he explains it is so good, because he's a really experienced and good skater, and he really brings every thought that you have when you're skating in your head. He brings it. He's really good in communicating that, and he also talked about. There's a really good video about how to better kickflip,
Hmm.
and he has a lot of insights about what your foot position it has to do with how your skateboard is rotating when you flick it, and it comes all down to friction, because the more foot you have on your board, the more friction you have, the slower your board is gonna flip. And if your toes hang off, if you have just like a little bit of amount of shoe on your board, there is less friction, so the board will flip faster. And also, it depends on how grippy your grip tip is. If you have a new board, it's more grippier, so there's more friction, so it will probably be a little bit harder to flip it. And also with
Hmm.
double flips, what you need when you do a double flip is you need to flip the board faster. Of course, I only have like my cell phone now to show you. Um, let's do like this. If this is your normal kickflip position for a double flip, you think you do it. You have to put it a little bit farther back just to get a little bit more flick and a little bit more power on that. And but you don't have to if you're strong enough and you have a really hard flick. You can also use the put your foot like a normal kickflip position on the board,
Yeah,
right?
that's the most difficult way, in my opinion. It's the way that Johnny Geiger does it. He just
Yeah.
flicks it faster, but this all the same like a normal kickflip over the pocket, which is so hard. And I think
Hmm.
the key to separate them is to really flip them differently. Like it's two different tricks. Because for me, it's the normal kickflip, like textbook kickflip over the pocket. First the normal ollie, and then the flick is for me. It's quite late in the air, and so on.
Hmm.
And then of course, awesome trick tip from you for kickflips. You have to catch it with the back foot first, so it has to flip up and then like with
Yeah.
the nose
Yeah.
down, and that was a really great trick. But for the double flips, I put my foot like this. Even like the toes are hanging, the heel is hanging off
So
most of the time, or it's even this weird position. The foot is not like this, but this, and I just pull down. But I really have to pop quick and fast so that it really looks good. And yeah, that's for me. And
yeah,
that for me is it's two different tricks. It's not just faster because the position, the movement needs to be different. Otherwise, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do a consistent flip and double flip.
well, but if you look at your foot, you say you point your foot all the way out, you turn it like almost to 90 degrees. What you do with that is your foot will cover less of the grip tape when it does the flick motion.
Yeah.
So less friction, so faster spin. And if you take your foot and you put it farther back, what a lot of people do, I do it also a little bit compared with other people. What will happen is your board is, you will probably have a harder time trying to level out your board, and it's gonna be a little bit more rocket flip. So I'm pretty good at double flips. I'm really consistent and everything, but it is really hard for me to actually bone a double flip because of the fact that I have to put my foot a little bit farther back to get this double rotation. So in my mind, to me, a double flip is completely different than a normal kick flip. Not completely different, but there are a lot of things that make it different. Also, what I like to do, what I need to do is when I do a double flip, I have to build up a lot of pressure with my front foot and my back foot, just to like put pressure on the board before I actually snap it, so I get the enough momentum to spin it all the way around. And that kind of in the beginning messed up my normal kickflips, because when I went back to normal kickflip, all of a sudden, I don't know, it looked awkward, stupid. I didn't have it consistently anymore, and it was kind of like a little bit rockety because of the different foot position.
Yeah, and I think it's also key that the pop and the flip are very the flip needs to happen almost in an instant after the pop. Like you have to pop and flip really quickly, and I think for the single kickflip it can be a little bit lazy. You can just flip it like slowly. Also, the pop can be slow, and you can still do a kickflip. But for the double flip, it has to do with speed. Even the pop.
Sometimes I have really lazy kickflips. If I'm just like, "Oh, I don't really want to like flick my foot that hard," I don't like to do that. It's just when I'm lazy, they spin really slow, and they like just get around just in time before the board hits the ground. It's funny, but it's a lazy flip, and if you go for a double flip, you really have to get it. You're like full power, full tension on the board, and really hard flick. And yeah, that is the thing with double flips. And the catch is like, just hope for it, man. Just like after a time, you get used to like it's spinning really fast, and you kind of have the timing when to stomp down. But usually, you do not know when to stomp down, when to catch it, and you land primo a lot. Well, I do that. I don't know about you, but primos are a common thing with me when going for double flips, which makes it a lot more interesting when you go downstairs or big things with double flips.
Have you ever tried triple?
I did a triple flip. I even have an Instagram post about that, but that was not on flat. I never made a triple flip on flat. It was out of a ramp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
And when we're talking about double flips, what about double flip variations and maybe double heel flips? No. Have you ever landed anything else than a double flip? I made you make a fakey double kick flips.
Yeah, that was difficult, because the fakie and the nollie, the movements, to have the leg, the front leg or the back leg shoot out in front of you.
Yeah.
And then you have to do the flip at the same time. I don't know how that works.
Well, I like to skate fakie. And I have to say, if you're used to skating fakie, I think fakie double flips are even easier because it's easier for you to build up the pressure. Same with fakie tray flips. It's easier to spin the trick and to give it a flick because you build the pressure up differently. And if you really struggle with normal double flips, and you're good at skating fakie, maybe just try to fakie first. That's my advice. But as Alex said, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like skate. You don't like to skate fakie, which is totally, a lot of people don't do that. But yeah.
Some tricks, look really awesome. For example, inward heel flip, fakie is awesome, or hard flip. But yeah, I did once many years ago, double heel flip.
Right.
But it was also a battle. But sometimes I do a heel flip and it turns like a half an rotation. It's overturning, and also with a switch flip, and I think, oh, maybe double. Maybe someday.
Yeah, switch double flips. You totally have them down. You have good switch flips, and you just need to practice them. They come. But the thing with heel flips, man, I was able to do double heel flips, but that was 10 years ago when my board was only 7.5, and now I ride at 8.5. And as soon as I try to do a double heel flip, and I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna put a little bit more pressure and gonna kick out a little bit more. I don't even get any flip at all. I don't know what it is with double heel flips. They are so hard for me. I have no idea, man.
I wouldn't even know what to do just for trying it the first time. I guess it would be the same like with the double flip. Then that means my heel has to go out. Wait a second. So my heel has to go. My heel has to go out not over the pocket with a single heel flip.
Yeah.
So just this way, but wouldn't it do? Is it varial heel flip? No, invert heel. Wouldn't it do an inward heel flip? How would that work?
It depends on your back foot. It depends on how you put the pressure with your back foot down. That is a lot. That is the trick with heel flips. Your back foot, especially with nollie and fakie things. You think it's all about the front foot, but actually it's about the back foot. Same with varial heel flips. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time whining about how bad we are at double heel flips. But what I think is the key to double heel flips is how much you let your toes hang over the board. I know a lot of people do heel flips differently. I like to let my front toes hang a little bit over the board. Alex does not like to do that. But I think the key is somewhere lying in there. If you guys are good at double heel flips, I know Jake is good at heel flips, our buddy, but I don't know if you can do double heel flips. But if any of you knows how to double heel flip, please give us the advice to conquer that trick, because I'd love to do those too. And besides that, any double flip variations?
I once landed a varial double flip. I think it's called monster flip or something. Nightmare flip.
Nightmare flip. That's probably the next thing on the list. I just recently tried that and I smacked a hole in my shin.
Yeah.
I made a video about that, I think. And varial double flips, but yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense because it's not that much more, and with the flick, it's easier to flip the board. And yeah, really hard are tray double flips, regular ones. I did one out of a bank, but on flat it's really hard if you suck at tray flips like I do. But besides that, fakie, they're a lot easier to me. Fakie, tray, double flips. And what is also kind of like, if you got backside flips, just try a fake backside double flip. Maybe that's the thing too. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Okay.
So I think the thing to remember is to separate them. Really have a different movement, single and double. Single is out of the pocket, and double is usually just 90 degrees out and down, and not over the pocket.
My tip, if you want to be consistent at both tricks, which we actually wanted to talk about in this video. So my main tip is always do kick flips regularly. Do them to warm up. if you know how to kickflip, of course you're gonna do that, but still do them every time to warm up to get that flick going. Your foot get used to that and get really good at catching them and just like think about how observe how your board rotates and reacts when you put it on a certain way in the board or flick it out, and do the same with double flips. Do at least one double flip every time you skate just to get used to of that, and that's like my only advice I can give you guys to be consistent at both tricks.
Do you do single kick flips just because you like the trick, or just as a mean to use in street combinations, like
You know
kickflip
what?
into 50-50 or so?
You know what? I'm not good at flipping into tricks.
Okay.
That is on my improvement list. But what I do like is the fact that a regular kickflip is an easy trick to use if you want to skate any kind of obstacle. If you want to go down a stair or go over a hip or a frame, any kind, just down a curb or something, if you want to be a little bit more than ollie, kickflip is usually the way I go, because you don't land switch. The board isn't doing anything crazy with rotating like in a tray flip. It's just a solid rotation. So to me, kickflip is like the basic trick you can do anytime, anywhere. And yeah, I had bad kickflips when I started out and everything. It took a lot of practice and just like filming myself doing the tricks and looking at them, how they look and what I did wrong, and really focus on certain types. And I still don't have very great kickflips. They're not very high and stuff, but they're getting better. And but they're at least they're consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's actually just a trick I like to do into a manual, upper mani pad. And even if I don't land into a manual, just kick flipping something up.
Yeah.
It's just a nice feeling. So
Or over something.
yeah, that's actually the fun part about kickflips, for me
Yeah.
at least.
I should do that more. Maybe that will help me out with getting some height on my kickflip to flip into some stuff.
Whoa, into tail slide?
Well, I am dreaming about kickflip crooked grinds,
Oh,
but that's a whole nother story.
okay, yeah.
I have like kickflip 50s is easy, but kickflipping into something nosy, nose manny kind, nose grind, crooked grinds is, I don't know why, it's a different thing, completely different thing, but I am on it. I am on it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Alex, do you have to say anything else about double flips? If not, I will wrap this video up.
Double flips are cool.
We'll leave it with that. Guys, double flips are cool. I love this guy. Go on skate, even though we have coronavirus. We're in a good mood, so have a good night. Peace
Have
out.
fun.
Bye.